All right. This is going to be a secret recording that I'm not going to upload. It's going to be in some sort of private playlist that will be released sometime in the future. Um, Mostly because it's not something I would want to be public just yet, because it changes the way that people um, behave, and I think in a way that is not very useful. For the experiment to really work, it does require it to be like done by yourself. Um, and so there's a bunch of things. Um, so there's a video around that I've done yesterday, um, which talked about some things that were on my mind. Um, the sort of good-heartedness, the goodness, that when spiritual teachers talk about spirit and all these things is a bit dry, and I think that is actually correct. Like, I find it, but it doesn't seem like something that I actually care about. Not something I would sacrifice myself for. Nothing. Um, Something that I do actually care about is goodness, things that are special, and usually like the prototypical examples of this are very human moments. Um, like the relationship with the parent that's very loving. Um, like a special piece of music, things like this, to really go deep into that. What the spiritual teachers say is still relevant, but I think it's important to go through something that is actually nice. Adyashanti has this idea of being, do you really want this? I was like, oh, okay, I don't. Um, I think actually there's a way in which she presents it in which you have to sort of fake that actually you do want it. You're really real. Um, in a way, I don't think works very well. Um, or like, it's fine. It's just the wrong place to do it, I think. Um, so, what do you got? The question is then to, pursue this. Really look at the core of it. One thing that I saw was that, so there was, in some ways, it is natural to just let go of everything and go for that. There was a dream I had. It was like somewhere in France, and Russia was invading, and we had like before the night we that was a time to like escape, and you could just do it immediately, but you wouldn't take all of the wealth, the gadgets, the little trinkets with you. Or you could try to gather the gadgets and then sort of, squeeze it a bit later, the escape. And there was a bit of that dream um, effect of, the sluggishness of it, where you're not really able to do the thing that you intend to do. Like, I want to grab the gadgets and put them in the car, but it doesn't happen. Like, so there's just that weird inconsistency, which makes it so that time moves on and the gadgets are still there, and so it gets more and more tense, more and more dramatic. And there wasn't really an ending to it, but I did have the sense that I was only going for these gadgets and trinkets and little pieces of wealth that because there's an idea that oh this might be useful in the future, or just like it would be embarrassing to just let this all go away and then you would need it in the future. People would get mad at you or something. And so it's like a safety. I would take it. But actually, what I felt was I didn't really need them at all. If it was really just me being honest, I would not take them and I would just go. And I felt like that can't be right. Um, and I don't feel confident enough with that. So there's that element where I had a sense that what was really important, was did not need all of this extra wealth, all this extra stuff. And maybe that is something that I know now also in like restricted sense of like gadgets or well I don't know how much I know it actually. But on the converse of that, so like experimenting with what if you then do follow your heart and just let go of everything that you don't need. Hair was a key thing, a key sticking point. The goodness that is experienced seems to actually mostly come from helpful outsiders. Specifically at this moment, someone that stands out is Brennan Lee Mulligan. This is like the start of campaign 4 of Critical Role, up to episode 7, and that has been very, very nice, especially once the tables have been solidified a bit, and the soldiers' table is quite nice. And Brennan Lee Mulligan is super, which is a great guy, and the interview with the final meal guy, that was fantastic. And then you have like David Berman with Purple Mountains, other examples like this. These seem to be the main sources of the goodness, and it's like not obvious to me that if I let go of that I'll find goodness again to the same extent. So there's a difference with the dream. In the dream, I was very much just doing it because like well, I'm not sure if really I'm like I feel like I don't need this, but I'm not maybe sure. I'll try it anyway. Hair is much more. Yeah, actually, I feel much more. Like I feel that this is actually valuable. This is not something that I would want to let go of. So okay, what am I talking about now then? Well, there's still some instinct to let go of it, and that's interesting. So just, you know, meditating, pondering, thinking about this, this thing. What was the next step? It had a different flavor. Oh no, so I guess there was one instinct that was that I'm not sure how correct this is, but something like you have to find it in yourself is very important. And so, you know, to find it in yourself, you have to stop finding it in other things, because just as we see, it does get muddied, because the one that you find in yourself is sort of subtle, small, easy to miss. And so if you've got something else giving the same signal, it's going to be difficult. Part of that as well was with, the all is one thing, where, you're not really missing out in anything. That's fine. I mean, it is a small thing. It's not important. And I sort of tried that, and it was like terrible. It was really difficult. And I was like trying to really be grounded in the sense of goodness. Like that as being sort of the North Star. But really, like, there was like a panic or like a tantrum, and like I really got confused, and in letting things go, I really sort of got lost, and then it was just like I am sort of vaguely planning on, doing this, on letting things go, but it's like now it doesn't have the fire in it. And so then it gets into this weird egoic thing of like, what is the correct way that it should look like? But it doesn't have the right earnestness, the right fuel, and so it just kind of gets a bit tangled up. And so then I was like, okay, I'll let go of this. And now, in trying to really see, okay, so that sense of goodness that I had was a bit too surface level. It wasn't deep enough to still be there, even in a tantrum. So then you're looking for something deeper. And, deeper, also like more subtle. It's weird, so it has to be both deep and subtle, but also powerful enough to be something that can count, something that can guide you. And among other things that I've kind of forgotten, what I found, or what I'm finding now, is that there is a sense of, so I don't know really what it is. And a sense that what I would be looking for, or, whatever questions I have, and a still small voice says, you will find your answers once you've let everything else go. I think there's maybe a slightly better way of phrasing that. So it's really in the stillness, in the silence, but like a very big stillness and silence, where you have very tangibly let go of things. As long as there's this idea that, whatever happens in your meditation, you're going to worry afterwards of whether you're going to be able to see your YouTube video, or, do well in this, or have people like you. That, like, that sort of promise that in the future that it's going to happen after your meditation does ruin sort of how deep the meditation can go in this case. And so yeah, so this is like quite unhelpful, because I'm looking for the thing that would help me to get through it, to find that thing, I have to get through it. Fuck. How? I mean, this is why it's very difficult. It's like I'm trying to get to the other side of the river, and the boat is on the other side. Right. So I'm trying to find a boat. The boat is on the other side of a river. To get to the other side of the river, I would need a boat. It's that sort of thing. And somehow it's like possible. I mean, like you can swim. I don't know if the analogy breaks down at that point. It probably does. But yeah, it is possible. And one other thing that has led me to, and this is mainly the reason why I'm not publishing this video when I'm recording it, like the day I'm recording it, is that I do have a pretty strong sense that really failing, sort of hitting a sort of rock bottom, like a devastation, other words, other synonyms, is actually very important. It's a key part of any well-rounded human. And people say you don't have to worry about that, life will do it for you, and to some degree that is right. But I think it's important to take the opportunities that you have. You don't, because if you really wait till the last minute, it'll just be very horrible, lots of friction, lots of unnecessary pain. Because there's lots about a devastation that you don't need. But the core of it is pretty important, it seems, and it's pretty terrible. And this is like the first time where like I've been afraid. I've always been suspicious that I've never been afraid to let go. So like I must be not getting something quite right. But now I am getting afraid. And so it's like a good indication that finally getting something right. And it came super quickly after nailing down on what's actually important, what you care about, and this is goodness. A goodness that I have seen before and sort of was useful before, but maybe didn't quite stick around. I think the reason why it stuck around more and why I had to wait until now was because of like art and like various sort of outreaches like that. It's very important for this for me. So yeah. Also, I had like another idea before of wanting to get, the authentic university experience, the nice version of it. I feel a bit different about it now, mostly just because, I don't really have it. But also, it feels so difficult to find decent people. I mean, they do exist, but it feels so difficult to find them. I don't like most people here. right is wrong, because I guess there's this thing where first impressions are actually very difficult, and they suck a lot more than um, being friends with someone for a good amount of time. So that's unfortunate that first impressions aren't like they're a bit awkward. But I think I don't know. Anyway, that was a bit of a side point. And so yeah, so now I'm like at the doorstep thinking that it is really important to have this devastation, to have this low point. Another thing that's nice about having it in a more controlled environment is that you can actually really focus on really letting go, really actually touching down to the low point. Because in other situations where I could be feeling like where it was more forced, um, it feels a lot worse. Feels a lot more like you can't escape it. There's a bit more urgency to get out of it, and so you're not going to be as careful to really let go into it. But now I can be careful, I can be ready instead of having it being forced, which is not something that would work for me at all. Um, like sort of the way I've gone through life has been very much delay, sort of keep it safe, keep it bounded, and delay until you find the uh, right spot, like a tumbleweed. Um, so yeah. And it's something that like I feel like I don't want to do, but interestingly, what is nice about it is that it seems like it is inevitable. Yeah. So there's something about it which is pure and which is valuable, and maybe that can guide me. All right. Take care.